So as I said, it's after in 14 years we did 16. So this is the 16th in a row summer school, and I'm super happy that we have this YouTube channel now. It's getting filled in, and we really record and share, because we realize probably the best thing we can do for community is to make sure that the lectures are video recorded, so they're not only exclusively for a group of elite, but they are really made for community. And also, it's also for you that are physically here. It is much better, you will see with the videos, because it goes very fast. You see so many things, and then you feel overwhelmed in 1 week. And that's why we have the videos. When you go back home, you remember, oh wow, I remember somebody from lectures was doing some interesting analysis, and you just remember where it is, and then you find it in a video, and you can slow down the video, you can pause it. You can play it slowly, and that's what we think is the best way to learn. I'm super happy to have with us this summer school also Matej Mann. Matej, yes. So he was the organizer of the 2018 summer school, and he did so good. It was really a fantastic event. We were in this. So imagine they have an institute in this castle here, a bit outside of Prague. So they're a bit lucky to be situated there. But so we had the summer school in this old castle from 17th century or something. So that was fantastic, and Mate did really great work, and he organized also a video, video recording of the summer school with a limited budget. So thank you so much, Mate, for that. That was really fantastic work, and so happy to see you here. And this summer school, you can just relax and just enjoy. Okay, so. And the other important thing is that in Prague, we also gave a Life Achievement Award for Roger Bivan. He's one of probably most important people for human civilization. And we realized that, the time is ticking, and he's now slowly retiring. And we realized this maybe last chance, to do it. So we were super happy also to do that. And on OpenGeoHub.org, you can read the text that Ezer wrote to Roger, which is also very personal. So yeah, it was quite emotional, and we were so happy to have Roger there with us in Prague. And then last year, Christian, Ezer, and Marius, and Hannah, and a couple of other people hosted the OpenGeoHub at Munster. For objective reasons, I was only half day present. So that was the first time I left the summer school to somebody else to run it, and apparently went very good. So Elsa did, of course, really good work organizing everything. And I'm so happy here to have Christian Knott, who is teaching today. So Christian in the back. And so he was the person like Mate, sweating and organizing, checking everything. You can imagine organizing events. It's a really, really serious work. For 1 hour of a conference, you work about 10 hours, I think, or more. And then also all the administration that we have to do. And, we do like to get people also from different continents, and then it's visa work and things. Some visa today is getting but silly. I mean, it's really, you have to re-explain many times, same thing. So we are very happy also to have Christian with us now. And he will be today also teaching. And as I said, we have this channel now, a YouTube channel. So if you, in the future, if you get lost, you can find the channel. Usually if you go to the homepage, so you will see on the top, if I go to the homepage, all these channels, they are listed here. I also, I forget the link sometimes, so I also go here to find it. But they're always the YouTube and the Twitter, and also the Mattermost is all the URLs are here. Then the other thing I wanted to say, about OpenGeoHub. So we have this like 4 generic missions. Yeah, we are non-for-profit foundation, as you noticed. We have no plans to generate any profit from the summer school. We really, it's not our objective. So why did we establish OpenGeoHub? So there are these 4 groups of main objectives. Is to promote best practices, and we will talk about it in the summer school a lot. Then we want to, in general, promote open data licenses and open source software, as also Giuseppe yesterday tried to explain you the reasons. And then we want to provide training. So we do this summer school now once a year, but the next year is going to be intensified. Well, whether we're going to do it physically, virtually, I don't know. We'll see, depending on the medical sector. But we will try to do next year even more hackathons. So focus is on hackathons. And also we'll do more specialized summer schools. This summer school is very general. There's a lot of topics and you see it's diversity of fields. So next year we will try to do about 3 of the workshops and hackathons, but then focused. Specifically, we also like to encourage diversity. And especially we look at trying to increase or enable female developers. I will talk about this a bit later. And also this year we started giving scholarships. So we gave 5 scholarships this year, only 3 were approved. And so you will also get these presentations from the people that did the scholarship work. So I'm super happy about that. And they did very well, all 3 of them. And then we also want to help decision makers, and decision makers we usually work with international organizations like UNCCD, FAO. We work also with national or European, like European Commission. So that's what we try to do. We are primarily, OpenGeoHub is primarily currently funded by European people. Our biggest projects are the European Commission projects from the Innovation and Networking Agency and from the Horizon project. So basically we are primarily funded by European people at the moment. The best practices. So what are the best practices? So like I try to group them here, make them like most compact as I can. So one thing we find very important is reproducible research. If you're young, so if you're a PhD student, you just start working on your thesis, so you want to publish first papers. So what does it mean? It means when you publish a paper, you don't just make a paper, you also make these notebooks and you try to basically put everything in a code. So if you get the reviews back, then you don't cry and you don't think, okay, I have to now start from scratch, but basically just have to fix a bit of your code, then you have to rerun it and you get the results. So that's why we think reproducibility is super important. So I think it's fundamental important for science. I think it's the only right science to do is to document everything, all the steps you do. So now it's not like you have to trust us. You know, you send a paper and say, well, how did you get this result? Well, you know, we got the results. You have to trust us. We are from, I don't know, MIT or something. So we would like to emphasize this transparency in science, and also what is important about computational notebooks. When you make a computational notebook, you publish a paper and you publish the computational notebook, and then other researchers can see how you did things and they can build up on your work. So you also help other people do awesome science. Which I also think is fundamentally what should science be about. There is some competition in science, but fundamentally it should be about community working and trying to solve real life problems in a community setting. Then we want to have something for users. So when you work in open source, you will notice that if you make something that works only for yourself, you know, great, we're happy for you, but you will see that some people develop in open source and they have, you know, lots of dependencies, lots of people use it. And so why is that? Because they thought about not making something for themselves only, but they thought about making something for community. So they tend to make something which is more generic, which is better implemented. And so that's what we call a focus on user-driven designs. Also, we think OpenGeoHub specifically, we think that development is moving faster and faster. And so you need this agile setup. So you have to be able to very quickly, you can see today with these packages, like what happened with the GDAL and RGDAL and Proj libraries, you know, that things happen as a new versions very quickly. So you have to be ready to very quickly move in that development sphere. You know, 20 years ago, somebody will make a package and they use it for 10 years. And now, you know, packages can have versions and new releases and major upgrades within the same year. So we also think it's very important for survival to learn how to move in such environments. And of course, you see the motto of OpenGeoHub is the connect, create, share, repeat. That's exactly what we do. As you see also with summer school, we'll see, we try to connect you. We create jointly. So we make new code, we make new solutions, and then we share it, and then we repeat. Because repetitio mater studiorum, the only way you learn is if you repeat. So these are the core missions. There is also a little pamphlet we wrote. We never published this anywhere. We just put a copy on internet, which is an introduction to the philosophy of open data and open source. And also, we also think it's just, it's just a tool, I mean, open source, but what we are really looking, what's the goal is this, what we call collective intelligence. So that's self-organized communities working on solving real life problems. OpenGeoHub summer schools, so we had the first one in Italy, I call EDZER. It wasn't really my idea to do the summer school. It was Professor Napolitano from Naples, Fabio Napolitano. Yeah, he called us and said, could you do we heard this R is hot, can you come and do some teaching? So I called EDZER, and we quickly had this school, and so that was happened quite quickly. And then what happened later on, people asked, oh, we want to have it again. And so we just started rolling. And now every time people ask, where's the next one? Where's the next one? I can show my mailbox, people asking me. So now it's a kind of self-rolling. It's like rolling a snowball. But specifically, what do we do with this summer? I mean, essentially what is our niche? Why OpenGeoHub? You could also go just to use R. You can go to EGU. I don't know. You have these big conferences. But I felt at that time in Naples, and then the next one we call more like Saga.js developers, people, especially Olaf Konrad, and we call Markus Nettele. And what I discovered then in a couple of years, I discovered that actually these two communities don't talk so much. So there was, Olaf, I think he programmed in C++ mainly, and Graphs.js. So they had their own way doing things. And I said, but you see these guys in R, they're also making interesting things. And I think it's open source. I think there's no reason not to combine the forces, And so we work on building these bridges. And so I'm very proud. First time I went to visit Roger Bivand, stayed 1 week at his home actually. And we work on the Saga.js driver for GDAL. That's basically 2 days. It's a boring job, but we made it. And so that was one bridge, so we could load the Saga.js data formats into R and via GDAL to other. So that was important bridge. And then there was all these packages like RGDAL and then RGrass. Also then there was general packages just to organize and pass data and visualize it. Then I made this plot.kml package to go from R to Google Earth. So these with all the bridges, so that's kind of the still main focus is building these bridges between purely GIS and purely like R and Python, like purely statistical computing or statistical programming. And probably this is going to stay the niche. At the moment, the focus on the summer school is on a lot on the machine learning and for the spatial temporal data science problems. So that's also now slowly reappearing. So a couple of words, actually, I'm not a native English speaker, so I still learn new English words. One very nice word I learned from actually Bob McMillan, the chair of the OpenGeoHub, is consilience. Ever heard of this word? It's beautiful. It's listen to the meaning. So basically it's convergence. It's multiple groups working on the same problem independently, coming to same solution. So it also leads to it's a kind of a proof that if you're doing science the right way, you come to the same solution. So I think it's very important word if you do science. And this consilience also, I think, comes in open source because you see that many people develop packages independently, and then they realize the same problems, and then we do this summer school to bring them together and say, okay, you have the same problems, maybe collaborate, maybe you should focus one group focused on this problem, the other two, because you eventually get a high efficiency if you distribute the work. So that's a very one word. If you I assume many of you never heard it, so it was new to me also, but beautiful, consilience. Then the other word that pops up a lot in our work, is, especially the last 10 years, is data cubes. And so there's a many definition of data cube. This is my definition of data cube. I also only took the last part of Wikipedia. Maybe I have to change the quotes, yeah. So I call it like, the data cubes also call multi-dimensional arrays. But for me, data cubes in spatial data, it's basically stacks of grids or rasters. And usually you like to stack them properly so they are all matching. They match in usually grid definition, extent, spatial resolution, coordinate system, of course. And so you prepare them so they are basically analysis ready. And so these are these data cubes. And so we do that a lot in our work. And there's many ideas how to do it properly. At the moment, we do cloud optimized geotiffs basically for data cubes. But there are many other ideas, and we keep on discussing that every summer school. There's, you know, there were post-GIS discussions, there were discussions how to do it, and you will see today, I think, and tomorrow there will be some discussions about that. And then there's the spatial temporal machine learning. So you had, I think, when I did my PhD, we worked on spatial temporal statistics, and then we switched using like a Kriging methods. And you know, some linear modeling or like some transformations, we slowly transitioned to using machine learning and combination of machine learning. So the spatial temporal machine learning is using machine learning to build models to explain spatial temporal phenomena, and it's not just blindly applying machine learning to spatial temporal data. You really have to think about all these things that you think in spatial temporal geostatistics. So temporal autocorrelation, spatial autocorrelation, how to do proper cross-validation, and then how to do how to model something without predicting artifacts or making nonsensical predictions in space-time. We do use open source really seriously. So I tell people still, because it's this open source, you know, it's like these little examples and little chunks of code. Can you really use it on serious projects? So we do use it. Our biggest flagship project, Open Land Map, it's fully based on open source, and we force ourselves to use as much as possible. And so it does work. We have something like a 3 terabyte of data being served through Open Land Map, and it's based only on open source GIS or open source statistical computing solutions. And we also put some of the layers we put in Google Earth Engine, so you can also access them through Google Earth Engine. Maybe some summer school we might do more of Google Earth Engine. Maybe it will become a main focus. We will see. At the moment, we see some advantages and we see some disadvantages also. But absolutely, we support people using Google Earth Engine, and especially because it's a primarily coding environment. So it absolutely helps you develop as an analyst. As I said, we have now, we are mainly funded by European people. So we have 2 projects which I would like to emphasize. One is called GeoHarmonizer, and we will be basically using open source solutions to create open data for Europe. And we want to basically improve the layers that already exist and the data which is available. We want to improve it, we want to enhance it, and we want to create a high accuracy layers and make them more accessible through the principles of using Open Land Map. Then we have another project called Mood, which is interestingly about monitoring outbreak events and modeling outbreak events in space and time, also as a function of climate change. Also super interesting project, large project. You can read about it also on the OpenGeoHub website. And we have a vacancy. We have a postdoctoral position on sorry, that was the old one. But we have a new vacancy. I will show you on the later. This is Anita Grazer. She was last year at the Munster, so she tweeted that she's happy about the gender. So it says, how do you say, a diverse group of attendees and speakers, geographical as well as gender. So she was quite happy that we had this gender, age, and geographical coverage. But in reality, it's not so good when you look at this is a bit older article, it's from 2017-18, but it hasn't changed much since then. but the article basically says that it's even worse in open source than in tech. So you have, I think, some estimate is, I think, 15 or 20% of the code, it's made by the female developer. So it's really big discrepancy. And that's based on GitHub. But when they do the testing, when they actually focus and they test, of course, the females are not worse. They're not like, they don't have a brain for coding or something. When they test it, you know, they perform really equally good. So that's very interesting. How come there's such a gap? But you know, in essence, it's you know, human and main brain. There are no really big differences for when it comes to coding. Yeah, so that's very interesting. We discovered it's not so easy, not easy to solve. So we are open to any suggestions, but we are very happy. You will see in this summer school, we have a lot of female presenters, and we like to promote that. And we're very proud to have almost close to 50% of female presenters. And so we see there are really new stars, new young female developers that lots of ideas. I'm so happy that Julia came and Paula came to the summer school. I actually never met them in person, so we just communicated with email. But I felt that just looking at their work and based on recommendation, I felt that they will match this summer school. So it's a complex problem to get females to develop things, but I don't have time to go through all that. But we discovered that, yeah, there is some paths, there are some solutions. And so we want to work on that. So we're slowly learning about female-friendly designs. I don't know if you heard of that. So in anything you design, you can design it that is more female-friendly. So female-friendly design for coding, for example, they discovered that if you give a longer deadlines, so you don't give a tight deadlines, then it's more female-friendly. And the other thing about female-friendly was, for example, that females prefer to work in groups, and males may a bit more individualistic. So you make a design where you look for a group solution. So these are kind of possible solutions we could have. But as I said, we don't have a solution. The Mood project specifically is looking also, we have some budget there, so we are going to look, we will try to do hackathons which are female friendly. So starting from next year, we will have hackathons which are female friendly. So we hope that we could change there a bit, and we could move that, you know, moving from 20% to maybe 50% slowly. But as I said, I don't have like exactly the path. So we are still, it's a complex problem. These are registrations we received for the summer school. It was really, I was overblown. We had almost 210 applications. Usually we have about 100 something. So we had 210, so really exploded. But yeah, then coronavirus happened. So unfortunately, all these people, especially from US and Brazil, yeah, they're not able to come for this because of this global pandemic, unfortunately. But we also see we take the votes. When you register, we take the votes. So you shape the program. Basically, we see some of the lectures maybe don't get so many votes, and then we take it out. It doesn't mean that these lectures are not worth. You know, it's just this community that is interested in summer school. They would like more to learn about this, then to learn about that. It doesn't devalue anybody's work. It's just you know, we would like to see what they're really interested. And then based on this, how you vote, we create a program. So some lectures get more visibility, some less. Some go to the second room. We have a parallel sessions, don't forget. Parallel sessions, so you can watch only one of the two, but it's no problem because we will video record. So you can watch, once you come back home, you can watch it from your home. So that's not a problem. Every block, as you see, when you go to the block, you will see that you can go and click on a link if you're not physically here. So for those of you listening from abroad, you just have to open that Zoom link. You do have to register on Zoom. The first time you come, you have to register. Zoom costs money, so we can only afford about 100 people on the webinars. So the first come, first served. At the moment, we don't have any other system. But we will also try to broadcast on YouTube. So for those of you who follow externally, you can follow also on YouTube, but a bit lower quality and with a delay. So the YouTube is definitely secondary. Try to get to Zoom. Objectives of the summer school specifically, So the individual and the community objectives. Individual objectives also, they depend whether you are advanced or a bit more beginner. If you're a beginner, then we want to make the steep slopes less steep. So we want to really hold your hand and guide you and tell you, look, you can do this, and give you right directions. And we do that especially in the evening sessions. So please join the evening sessions if you feel like you're just starting and you're not sure actually if you're doing things correctly. Absolutely join the evening sessions. And then we have the advanced level. And then usually that's a how to get forced to use it like us for operational projects. And then the community objectives is to discuss these best practices, how to do it. We have every afternoon, we'll have this discussion panel. We have the US lecturers, unfortunately they couldn't come, but they will connect in the afternoon in their morning time in US. They will connect and they will give webinars. Every day we have another webinar. So that will be also a discussion panels. And then I would just like to, in the end, to take really a lot to the lecturers, because without lectures, there's no summer school. They're the most important. Then the second is you, the participants. But so I would like first to thank the lecturers for preparing all the materials and being patient with us. And I will in advance like to thank them for accepting to be video recorded and to release this video under open data license on the YouTube channel and also on other channels. So thank you so much, lecturers, for willing to come to this summer school. And on the end also, just to mention, these are two projects where we get now our core financing. And so, as I said, there's the Mood project and there's the GeoHarmonizer project. Both projects have their own websites, so you can follow them also from OpenGeoHub.org. And with this, I would like to end the introduction. So one more time, welcome to OpenGeoHub. Don't forget the program is, most important is that you follow the program from the homepage. So the program might be dynamically changed. So when I say change, we won't change the order or anything. But if there's a broken link or is some extra information needed, lecturers, they have access to this and they update it from their computers and it automatically shows up here. It's maybe not the best visualization. So you have to often click to this agenda to find where the things are. It's much more visible, I think. So when you click on agenda, and then you can just open a session and you will see the details of the session. There's usually a GitHub repository, there are slides also, and so you can watch everything. And with this thing, I would like to close this session. Thank you.